Good morning, traders. I am Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, June 11th. Markets are cautious ahead of a number of economic catalysts. Yesterday's stocks started out the week on a slightly higher note. The S&P 500 added 13 points, or about 0.25%. The Dow gained 69 points, or 0.18%. The NASDAQ closed in the green, up 59 points, or 0.35%. Bill, let's get into Tuesday with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are down a little over 0.2%, 0.25%. So, it looks like we're going to have a weaker opening, but there's a lot of caution in the air. The sentiment is not positive. It's not bare negative, but it's not positive because of, there's a number of key catalysts that are upcoming. I mean, that the market's watching for. I mean, we all know we get the Fed meeting tomorrow. That's tomorrow afternoon. We know that. But we all got the CPI in the morning. That's a big influencer. And don't forget, tomorrow, Wednesday, we get a bunch of economic data. I think they get out the PPI and the CPI from China Wednesday morning. So there's a lot happening there with on the economy, on the economic front, that the market really will be paying attention to today and tomorrow. On to other issues, you look at Lilly. Lilly received some, a positive panel opinion on experimental Alzheimer's drug. That stock's up, it's jumping up over 2% this morning. You got Apple. Apple, it faded from a 195, which, we mentioned that yesterday. It'll probably fade off of this 195 because the event has happened. And sure enough, you look at the stock now, 192.92. It definitely is fading off that 195 area that we mentioned yesterday. Boeing, let's talk Boeing for a second. Israeli El Al, that's a big Israeli airline. They're in talks with Boeing to purchase apparently 30 737 MAX planes. Get some positive earnings from, Autodesk last night, which is nice. Then we're kind of taking a look at the overseas markets. Let's start off with the DAX in Germany. I mean, the DAX is getting hit. It's down 158 points, or 0.86%. But the FTSE is down 74 points, or 0.9%, and the CAC is down 1.26%, or 99 points. Remember, the CAC fell 1.35% yesterday. It's now down another 1.28% today. You're looking at the FTSE. Well, they had their jobless data come out. It came in at 4.4%, which is slightly higher than the 4.3 estimates. It's been 4.3 on the data's been 4.3 for the last few months. So this 4.4 is a little concerning. And wages in the UK continue to grow rapidly into 3 months into April, which is kind of a factor for the Bank of England. Now, the Bank of England's having their monetary policy meeting next week. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind as well. So yeah, weakness in Germany, weakness in London, weakness in France. We're switching gears. We're looking over at Asia last night, and Tokyo. The Nikkei actually showed a gain. They were up 0.25%, or 96 points. Tech shares rose, but then you got China. China fell 0.76%. I was watching before it closed. It was down 0.6, 0.65, and it closed down 0.76. Same with the Hang Seng. Was down. And those losses just continuing to get worse as you got closer to the close. And Hong Kong closed down 190 points, or 1.04%. And it really is due to the Wednesday data, the deluge of Wednesday data that we're having, CPI data, PPI data, Fed meeting, there's a lot happening there. So we got to be cautious, in our trading today. And then you look at oil. We had that big rally yesterday in oil. Oil was up big, oil spiked hard yesterday, but you look at oil today, it's down slightly, about 0.3%. You get WTI at $77.46. You get Brent is at $81.37. Now, OPEC released their monthly OPEC status report this morning. They're calling for higher oil demand, for the rest of the year. So That's what I would expect from OPEC, but that I don't think that's really fully priced in yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update this morning, Emily.
Bill, in that one update, we've really heard a variety of things and news that you're catching with your newsware, just like that OPEC report, some of these headlines from different companies, these corporate headlines. Also, you're talking about economic events. There's a lot to sift through here to keep track on the trading day. We're going to get through all of it on today's show. We're going to first turn to earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of what is going on in terms of earnings.
We're starting off with YEXT, Yext, Yellow, Edward, X-Ray, Tom. They missed by a penny, but they did it on higher revenue. Stocks down 12.7% this morning. That was not good. Then Autodesk came out last night. Ticker ADSK, Apple David Sam Kilo. They beat by 10 cents, and they did it on higher revenue, which is good to see. Stock's flat this morning. I mean, it's 216 to 219. We'll have to, last trade is 218.10, so we'll have to kind of wait and see how it opens up. And then we got a number of earnings coming out this afternoon, including Casey's General Stores, CASY, Charlie Apple Sam Yellow. Now this one, their EPS is $1.07, and then their expected move is 5.98%. I just don't like the heavy put volume going on in Casey's General Stores. Oracle, ticker ORCL, they're also coming out. They're a big one. EPS is $1.64, expected move 7.60%. I don't like Oracle on earnings. They never seem to really pop. I mean, I've seen a little bit better with the cloud stuff, but I mean, I'm not a big fan of Oracle, when it comes into earnings. I don't hate the company. I just don't like the enthusiasm the stock gets ahead of earnings and then, never really seems to deliver on the earnings report. But that's what I have for you in terms of upcoming earnings announcements, Emily.
Keeping watch of those. And then now we're going to get to the economic events of the day. Although there's not really anything specific, we do have that broad overview about the upcoming data that's coming out that certainly will make waves in the market. So, Bill, give us a look at what we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
No key economic events today that are due out. But I got to point out this today starts the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee's meeting. They start today. This is the monetary policy meeting. Tomorrow they have the announcement. Now, no changes in rates are expected. However, the market's going to get the update of the Fed summary of economic projections. Now, what is that? That's what you're going to hear this over and over again. The dot plot. Historically, the dot plot is horrible, in terms of its predictive nature, but it does give you a good idea of what the FOMC members are actually thinking. Now, if you look at, where they were in December, December 2023, they were looking at 425 basis point rate cuts. That's what they came out with in December 23. Then we moved forward to March, which was the next one. They lowered it a little bit. They said, we're only going to see, probably 3 rate cuts of 25 basis points in 2024. Now, based on the Fed communications that I see that I've been reading, we have that June dot plot coming out tomorrow. The expectations are going to be highly conservative, and I'm thinking 1 to 2 25 basis point cuts for 2024. That's going to be a negative implication for the market. So you got to worry about the dot plot tomorrow, not so much as to what the fact that they're not going to raise, they're not going to be making any changes to the interest rate policy, but that dot plot will have some, will create some volatility in the markets tomorrow, Emily. But that's what I want to point out on economic, because there are no real reports for you today, Emily.
And Bill, again, you're watching all of this information using NewsWare. I can't imagine following all these different types of catalysts, like that earnings action, like the economic events, being able to see the day's action, but also historical information to really look at the overview and what to expect coming up. You also look at other types of news and information and data, things coming out of different sectors and segments. We've heard some of the headlines in your opening, but you're also keeping track of things like merger news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You look at your stocks grouped together, your FANG stocks, your Dow 30 stocks, all to get a good feel for the trading day ahead. So, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
Just looking at my Dow, my Dow stocks, I'm showing 20 lower, 7 higher. The other 3 are unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. I'm kind of happy to say that while Apple's trading lower, I am showing some gains in Google and Netflix and Tesla, and the Tesla one kind of surprises me a bit. But we're kind of seeing what is the news that's actually causing some of it. Like Apple. Listen, we talked about this yesterday, but it's worth repeating. I mean, listen, the event is over. They're receiving a lukewarm response to its hyped AI phone capabilities. This is typical. You know what? They hype it up, and the street's not really loving everything they said about their AI capabilities. Um, so, you are seeing a little weakness in the stock. I suspect that you're going to see more weakness during the day today on Apple. Amazon, there's a makeup company or makeup brand, Too Faced Makeup. I haven't heard of it before, but they're going to be debuting on Amazon's premium beauty store soon. Little story on Tesla and Apple. I mean, if Apple integrates Microsoft's OpenAI on the operating system level, then Apple devices will be banned at his companies, according to Elon Musk. He feels that this is an unacceptable security violation. Interesting. It gets Tesla's name in the paper. It gets Musk's name in the paper, which sometimes I think that's all he cares about. But it's not really something that's going to happen, I don't think. Let's talk Dow Jones 30 stocks, 3M. Their president and CEO is going to be speaking today at that Wells Fargo Industrial Conference this morning. Caterpillar, just want to point out, Caterpillar tomorrow is having a virtual shareholders meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Stock's up by, slightly this morning, but we can see some gains when they put out some press releases tomorrow morning. Boeing, that story on Air that I said that they were planning. Well, they did. Apparently, Air did buy 37 Max planes this morning that I saw hit the tape. Let's talk merger news, and we want to keep following this story on Paramount Global because it always gets more interesting. Former media executive Edgar Bronfman, he's backed by Bain Capital now. He's expressing interest in buying the controlling stake of amusement parks, which is really what controls Paramount Global. And he's kind of looking for to make an offer between $2 billion and $2.5 billion. So, you got Skydance making their offer, you've got Sony and Apollo making an offer, and then I see another guy, Hollywood producer Stephen Paul, is said to be lining up financings to make an offer for National Amusements, and he's looking to do this around $3 billion. So, it is in play. PARA, Paul Apple, Richard Apple is now in play and could fetch a higher valuation. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. Let's talk shareholders meeting, NASDAQ, ticker NDAQ, Nancy David Apple Quinton. They're going to be holding their annual shareholders meeting today at 8 a.m. Could be some interesting stuff that comes out of it. Remember, the guy, one of the big exchanges in Dubai, sold a bunch of shares. I think they sold like $15 million worth of shares in NASDAQ in March. They're going to be talking about their trading volumes and what have you. Ultra Beauty, ticker ULTA, Uncle Larry, Tom Apple, they're going to be having a shareholders meeting today. That's going to be starting at 11 a.m. Let's talk buybacks. Let's talk GM, General Motors, Grace Mary. General Motors announced a $6 billion stock repurchasing plan this morning. Ooh, that stock is flying this morning. Today it's up 1.53% already. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
Go with ExxonMobil, ticker XOM, X-ray Oscar Michael. Oil prices can move differently from, equities. And I think the equities are going to be a little bit ugly today. Healthcare might do okay. You did see oil prices spike yesterday. They're falling a little bit today, but they're not down too hard. So I could see them turn around and move higher today. That would help ExxonMobil. And then, of course, you get the OPEC meeting where OPEC is out there saying that they see demand increasing over the summer. And, that's what happened yesterday. Goldman Sachs came out saying a research note saying that they think there's going to be increased demand over the summer for oil. I'm looking at the option volume yesterday for ExxonMobil, 35,584 calls versus 18,524 puts. Nice, strong. You're looking at the open interest, 644, 633 on the call side, 545, 418 on the put side. Again, positive. Major brokers, listen, they got overweight ratings on the stock. I mean, they're questioning. They don't know about the stock price too much because they're judging demand, but they still are keeping their overweight demand. Now, listen, to get into the stock, for me to feel comfortable, I'm thinking 112.25 to 112.60, somewhere in that area, because this market is going to open up lower. So I could see ExxonMobil dropping, 40 cents, from yesterday's close, but maybe a little more. And that would be, I think, a good entry price, because I do think oil could turn, which could actually benefit, the oil stocks and push those higher today. So that's my pick of the day. ExxonMobil, ticker XOM, X-ray Oscar Michael, on a volatility play, Emily.
Looking to take advantage of some volatility in the oil sector today. And coming up, we're going to see if you were able to take advantage of volatility yesterday and do a recap of yesterday's pick of the day. So stick with us till that. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, sending it back to you.
Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam, to deliver generative AI powered innovations in collaboration with NVIDIA. Wow, that's a big story. What's ZS doing today? Stock's up $2 to 187. Ooh, that's nice. Good for Zscaler. What else do we got here? Spotify is going to be, to introduce a new higher price premium plan for its most ardent users. Okay, I kind of know that this was happening. United Airlines, ticker UAL, they had 200 new flights for a national political convention. Sting, Scorpion Takers, STNG, Sam, Tom, Nancy Grace, they're going to be selling 5 MR product tankers. Okay. BJ's Holster, BJS, they're expanding same-day delivery to big-ticket items such as outdoor furniture and TVs. Honeywell, ticker HON, announces the launch of battery manufacturing excellence platform. Costco, ticker COST, they're going to be accelerating their e-commerce push. Merck, ticker MRK, their chairman and CEO is going to be speaking today at that Goldman Sachs Global Healthcare Conference today. California, Tesla, this is a Tesla story. A California judge rejected the car maker's bid to dismiss claims by a top state regulator accusing the automaker, which is led by Elon Musk, of overstating its vehicle's self-driving capabilities. Ooh. And Tesla is trading higher, so we'll see. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Pfizer. Now, the idea here was to watch for some weakness and then get in to see if you could get a gain from there. How did your call work out?
Well, I mean, listen, it worked out. I made money on Pfizer yesterday. I mean, if you look at the stock, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the opening, it started selling off. It started moving lower, lower, lower. So I had to wait. I sat back and I waited. I don't know, 5, 10 minutes, whatever it was. And by 9:40, I was in. I was long in the stock at 27.70, and I just sat there. But 15 minutes later, it was already over. I already made my 1%. So I closed out of it. I was like, take my money, walk away. It was trading over 28. I think I got out of 28.06. I ran from 27.70 to 28.06. And if you look at the stock, it opened up at 28.35, fell down to 27.63, then it bounced right back up to 28.07, and it actually traded higher on the day. But you look at the stock this morning, it is trading higher again this morning. But I made my money in that, like the first 15 minutes of the day. I was thrilled. I was happy. I walked away with a smile, grabbed that 1%. Don't look back. And so Pfizer yesterday, PFE was a winner.
Early 1% there to walk away with a smile. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Exxon pick of the day to see if you can get your gain there. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.